guys, I'm Danny Johnson, CEO at TPP, The Positive Porpoise.
I'm Jason Miller from Fins Up SoCal Fan Club.
I'm Scott Howell from Atlanta Dolphin Club.
Mark Angelo, NorCal Dolphin Club.
And you're listening to Clock Blockers, Miami fans' #1 morning show.
Run it, 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 run it.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. What is going on? Good morning to my Fins family and Fin-Laws. I'm your host, Stephen Daniels, right here on the #1 Miami Sports Morning Show. Clock Blockers, what is up, baby? Super excited to be hanging out with y'all today. Got a big show lined up for you. Got a little bit of a late start this morning, but that's okay. Real quick, just let me do a quick rundown. Hey, if y'all haven't done so already, follow me on social media at Stephen D. SKPL. Spread kindness, positivity, and love. Follow Miami Sports Music on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube at Miami Sports Music, and on Twitter at MIA Sports Music Now. Do me a real big favor to everybody who is currently watching. Hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. And if you haven't done so already, share it. Go at the bottom of your screen, right below where you're seeing me. There's a little link that says share. Click it, hit the Twitter or Facebook or Instagram posts, and tag me, Stephen Daniels, and tag Miami Sports Music at MIA Sports Music if you're on Twitter, or at Miami Sports Music if you're on anything else. And also tag me at Stephen D. SKA. So go share it right now. Let everybody know that we're here. And if you want to tag the Miami Herald and Daniel Oyefusi, everybody, tag the world. Say tag world, okay? Make sure you guys go do that right now. Hit the like button, subscribe to the channel. If you guys want to sign up and become a member of the channel today, I ain't going to be mad at you. There are plenty of beautiful, wonderful, amazing people that are a part of this family already. And you know what? We could always use more. We could always use more. Okay? So make sure you guys go do that right now. PGA Tour 2 says top 5 channels on YouTube. I like it, man. Thank you. That's a, you know what? I like it. That top 5. You hear that there? No, I see you in the background. They said I have a top 5 channel on YouTube. I don't know if I get anything for it except a lot of love, but I like it. All right? I like it. All right. Hey, make sure if you guys donate to the channel, help the channel grow. There are plenty of ways to help the channel grow by donating. I don't care if it's $1. If you're able to donate, donate. You guys can use the YouTube Live Super Chat, which is the $sign down at the bottom of the chat. Or you guys can also use, Cash App or PayPal. All right. So you guys can use Cash App, which is $MSM Podcast Network, or PayPal, which is MSM Podcast Network as well. You see the QR codes on the screen there. You guys can take a screenshot of them with my beautiful smiling mug, and you guys can have the QR code there, and it'll take you to a link right to donating to the channel. Want to give a big shout out to our sponsor, Tail Greeter. If you don't have the app today, what are you doing with your life? Download the app on your current Apple or Crapple or Android device today. Okay, make sure you guys go do that, and make sure you follow them on social media at Tailgreeter, TAILGREETER today. Make sure you guys go do that. All right, I want to remind you all today is Tuesday, so tonight is the Miami Sports Music Power Hour. Myself, the Honorable Solo D, Cameron 954, and Jamie Bahamas will all be in at 8 p.m. doing the most, having a great time. We haven't been on for a couple of weeks because we've all been doing personal stuff. So we'll be back in action. I want to remind you guys this Tuesday as well, tonight at 9 p.m. Fins, the Spanish-speaking Miami Dolphins podcast. Make sure you guys check them out too. Okay? K? Lil John say K? What's up? All right. Now that I've gotten all that out the way, let me go ahead and bring on the man, the myth, the legend. You guys know him. You love him. From the Miami Herald. Let's go ahead and make it happen. My man, Daniel Oyefusi's in the building. What's up, baby? How you doing?
I'm doing well, man. Long time no talk. How you doing?
Long time no talk. It has been a long time no
Yeah.
talk, man. I'm sorry. It's been crazy, man.
Nah, it's all good, man. Stuff happens. It's all good.
So let me get this straight. I haven't talked to you in about 2 or 3 weeks. And in that
3 weeks.
Yeah, in that time, you've been to Mobile, You've been to
Oh
Indianapolis.
no. We talked since I was in Mobile, I think.
Okay.
That was
You've been
last
to
month.
Indianapolis. You were in Indianapolis for the combine.
Yeah.
And a lot of craziness has gone down in the last, week with free agency. And it's still going down today. We'll see what happens with Teron Armstead, and we'll get into that in a little bit. But just first of all, how was the combine? Tell me about the combine first.
That was definitely a real cool experience. It's my first time out. I've been to Indianapolis before for like the NCAA tournament and stuff like that, so it was around the same area. But it's the first time I was there for the combine, so it was really cool to like not only talk to the like the players during the day, and then you see like a bunch of like your contemporaries in the industry, but then like you go out to dinner with people, and then you like meet coaches and executives and agents and stuff like that. So it was a really really cool experience.
That's awesome, man. That is awesome. I am super, super excited about that. So tell me, was there anything that stood out to you in that week? Was there any player that stood out? Anything that stood out for you in any?
Yeah, I mean, the funny thing on the player front is that like you and some of like the older guys on the beat told me this, like it's different taking in and being a part of the combine from a fan perspective.
Mm-hmm.
And then like doing it from like when you're actually like a journalist and a reporter. So it's like when you're a fan, like they put this stuff on TV, you're watching all the drills. To be honest, I didn't watch too many drills, and most reporters probably didn't watch too many drills unless they were actually in like Lucas Oil or whatever. Because for the most part, like we talk to the guys, but then you're out, writing the stories of media workroom. You're talking with agents, you're talking with other reporters, coaches and whatnot. So you don't really get to see like a lot of times you don't get to see like the testing in real time. And I know that they moved it to like prime time, so it's at later at night. But that's when people are out at like, having dinner, or they're at the bars. So from a player's perspective, honestly, I had to kind of like follow up the day after, the morning after I read all the stuff and I saw a lot of the videos. But no, it was
basically what you're saying is Miami Herald, you were having dinner while it was going on in Indianapolis.
No, I was working.
That's not what I just heard. What I heard is you were having fancy dinners with your contemporaries, and you guys were just chilling in Indy.
Hey man, so here's the deal. The interview started like the first interviews were like either at 7 or 8. So you got to wake up pretty early, and keep in mind, like people are up till like 3, 4 in the morning.
Wow.
So you got to wake up at like 7 just to get to the first player interview. So I'm like there from 8, just talking to guys, like going down the row. At the podiums, at the side podiums, talking to guys. So it's like I was working, trust me, I was working. But for real, it was also like on the flip side of it. It was cool to like get guys like off the record and like the coaches. Like I was able to talk to McDaniel. Obviously, I spoke to him on the record for the story that I wrote. But then like I saw him at one of like the prime bars that that people visit. So I was able to talk to him, talk to Matt Applebaum a little bit, and some of these assistants. It's just like kind of get to those people. Yeah, I talked to Applebaum.
What is he like? Because I'm going to say this right now. I personally believe he was the best pickup of the Dolphins this offseason, and that includes free agents.
Yeah. I mean, it's definitely the most. I think it's definitely the most important. I'll say that. Now he's a real cool guy. Like the one thing about this coaching staff, like it's a younger-ish staff. Like obviously McDaniel's 39. Applebaum is like in his mid to late 30s. He's a cool guy. We had to have some kind of like overlapping roots because he coached at Towson and I'm from Towson, so we were talking about that and talking about the area for a little bit.
Okay.
So yeah, he's a real nice guy. He's a real cool guy. I think that he's going to do well, kind of developing the guys. He seems like really open to really kind of giving these guys a blank slate and just kind of putting the past in the past and just like focusing on the future and the now. So that's going to be interesting to see how it works with those guys.
All right, let me get into real quick that story that was big there, and I just want to touch on it briefly. We don't got to get too much into it. Mm-hmm. There was a player that, obviously tore his ACL or something like that, and there was nobody that came to his side. Did you see that story?
The David Ojabo video. Yeah, I did see that.
What is the talk amongst your contemporaries, and what is the outlook of that to the NFL right now that you know of? Because that's not a good look for them.
Yeah, I think. Yeah, I mean it's interesting because like I did see the video, and I know that a lot of reporters were kind of like really kind of disgusted with it. I mean, I don't know. Like I'm not trying to like just be like a contrarian I understood where people were coming from. Like, it wasn't a good look that nobody like went to like check up on him. All the sauce just kind of like took a step back or they walked away. But like me personally, I didn't see it as like this like big indictment on like the scouts and like them not. Yeah, I mean, we know it's a cold business. Like the NFL is a very, very cold business. I think more big picture was like I don't want to like point the finger at like the scouts and be like, why didn't you check up on them, because they're not doctors. So it's like maybe somebody after the fact did send him a text message or call him or check up on him after. We don't know. It wasn't the best look. Maybe you would have liked to see somebody with it, but there was like a training staff, like a medical staff that went over to check up on him. I think it's more big picture. Like we got to look at like the entire process of, this whole pre-draft process. Like this is a guy who's widely looked at as a top 15 pick. So why was he even doing a pro day thing? Like did he really need to do that? But then if he doesn't do it, then we're saying his character issues, he doesn't have the want to, he doesn't have the competitive fire. So I think that was the thing that really stood out to me. It's like, why are we asking these kids who we already know were top 15 draft picks, top 20
to do this stuff?
It's like I think that was the one thing that stood out to me. Like we got to rethink this process, because all of this is like for show. It's like they're putting this stuff on NFL Network, on ESPN, and they're getting a bunch of money from it. But it's like these kids,
football. You didn't know football was year round now, dude. Like that's what it is. It's all a money grab. You know that. Let me ask you one last question from the standpoint of the coaches in pro days. So to get away from that subject, because I know there's a lot we could talk about too with that. But Jackson State University just had their pro day.
Yeah.
And for those of you who don't know, Deion Sanders is the head coach of Jackson State University. Pro days are big, no matter what school you're going to, right? Yeah. Only 22 teams showed up for Jackson State pro days. Now, with that being said, let me give you all some, look back into history. There were no players from HBCUs, historical black college universities, selected in the NFL last year. None. Yeah. So only 22 of the 30 teams or 32 teams or whatever from the NFL showed up for his pro day this year. And he went out on Twitter and made a big fuss about it, rightfully so, in my opinion. But basically said to the 10 teams, "Hey, don't y'all be going to Mississippi State
Ole Miss,
and Ole Miss's pro days because, hey, look, this is what. Just I know you probably haven't had time to really look at the story or anything. Just what are your first impressions about that? Because I think he brings up a good point."
Yeah, I saw the video, and I think that there's definitely like been a big movement in recent years to like try to really amplify and highlight HBCUs, not only from an academic perspective standpoint, from an athletic standpoint, because they're all talented individuals. Academically, HBCUs like Howard. I don't know the stat off the top of my head, but it's like Howard. I think Howard like produces like the most like black engineers, black doctors. Like HBCUs are producing talented and successful people. So it's like in the same right. Yeah, like we gotta amplify the athletics, because there are very, very talented players who are not getting opportunities because the spotlight isn't on them. Darius Leonard, I'm blanking on the HBCU that he went to, but the all-pro linebacker from the Indianapolis Colts, Darius Leonard, he went to HBCU. So it's like the talent is there. We just have to amplify it. So it's like, yeah, when you see that, there's 22 is great. 22 teams is great, but it's like, why not all 32? Why?
Yeah, you'll see all 32 teams in Ole Miss. You'll see
in Ole Miss. I looked it up because I wanted to use comparison. Ole Miss's pro day is in 2 days, so there's no reason why they couldn't have sent somebody and it's 2.5 hours or so. I just looked it up.
Mississippi is only so big. My wife,
it's 2 hours and it's a 2 hour 40-minute drive. So there's no reason why, if you're going to be at Ole Miss in 2 days, why couldn't you just send somebody? And then you just drive up to Ole Miss. So, I mean, it's a good point. And again, the work is still being done to kind of amplify and highlight HBCUs. But you want to get to a point where, like, you don't have to, like, it's not separate. It's like, it's just kind of like common and it's just accepted that, we're going to go to Jackson State. We're going to go to all these different HBCUs to visit their pro days and to scout their players.
I'll say this last thing about it. In my opinion, I truly believe HBCUs in the coming years, you're going to see a lot more respect and a lot more players drafted, NBA, NFL, Major League Baseball. I think they're all going to get eyes on them in the next 5 years. So, and I think Deion Sanders,
because there was a time, I guess, like in the 60s where they were it was a big pipeline. You
Yep.
know, like you had all these
because that's all the only places they could
where
play.
they could go. Exactly. So then once they started going to a lot of the Power Fives, maybe the talent wasn't there, but you're starting to see a lot of the high end talent. You know, especially with like
In the last 30
that's all.
years, 40 years, is you've seen them going to Power 5 schools, and
Yeah.
now, you know, that stigma's trying to change, especially with Dion. But I think that's
we got to put the money in there too to give them the resources to be
100%.
successful.
Well, that's why Barstool Sports and Jackson State did $100 million deal. You guys want to see a really cool story? Go look that up. Jackson State, Barstool Sports, $100 million for NIL deals, names, image, and likeness. That's a big deal. That's money that Jackson State would have never seen in their wildest dreams. But they did that deal with Barstool Sports. Shout out to Dave Portnoy. I think it's such a big deal, you know?
Yeah.
All right. Enough about that. One last thing before we get into the Dolphins talk. So last night you were on Twitter Spaces.
I was.
How was that? Tell me your experience.
It was cool. So this is the thing. So, you know, you get the notification. I'm not going to lie. Sometimes I wish that, like, Twitter had, like, an incognito thing so you can just kind of, like,
listen and not be known that you're listening.
The thing is, I was even said, I was like, Dolphins fans, like, they crack me up. Like they're hilarious. So a lot of times I just like to like pop in and just to see what people are saying. Cause I like to hear what fans think and whatnot. Cause I think fans make really, really good points that I don't even consider sometimes. So I just like hopped in there and I was invited to speak and I was making dinner. And I was like, oh, sure. Like, I'll accept to speak. And it turned into a Q&A. And I was just going back and forth and talking with fans. But it was a real cool experience. You know, like I don't, again, I'm still fairly new on the beat, just coming up on 1 year and a couple months. So it's like to get to like interact with fans, like it's definitely something that like I enjoy. And again, I just like I like to talk ball sometimes. A lot of the times, you know, I'm a sports fan at heart, so I just kind of like to think of hypotheticals and just like go back and forth. So it was real cool.
You know, I asked that question because I don't know if you've seen, you know, Big O recently had a thing with Omar Kelly. And Omar Kelly and a lot of your contemporaries, you know, some of them have also had beef on Twitter lately. And some of them have had beef with each other on Twitter lately. And so right now there's this world where there's the YouTube crowd, there's the Twitter crowd, there's the beat writer crowd, and everybody seems to be at each other's throat right now. What are your thoughts on that?
Man, I don't know about no beef. I was about to say, like, for real, I don't know. Like, I'm definitely active on social media. I don't know if I'm that active. Obviously, you know, Twitter can be whatever you make it. So sometimes it can be the greatest thing in the world. Sometimes it can be a cesspool. A lot of times it is a cesspool, but it's just a matter of kind of navigating it and just not letting. Like I always say, I try to not take myself too seriously. And like I even said it in the Twitter spaces, like I'm not here to like debate with y'all. Like if ESPN wants to throw me some first take money and have me start debating with y'all, I'll go back and forth and arguing with y'all. But I'm a reporter, so I try to report. I try to teach as best as I can and give y'all a different perspective, an insider perspective. But outside of that, I'm not arguing. Like I ain't got time to argue with people.
Daniel's like, I don't want no problems. I ain't got time for no problems. But do you all talk about that? Like while talking about like any of that when you guys are together? Because you guys are together a lot.
Talk about what?
Like Twitter or fans or
yeah. Of course we talk about Twitter. Of course we talk about Twitter.
What's the perception from you guys? I'm not asking you to get into specifics of what your contemporaries say, but like, what is that?
I don't know if there's like a consensus, but I think that one thing about Twitter is that like it amplifies the how do I put it? It amplifies like the far spectrum of like of everything. So it's like those are the people who you see the most. So it's like, let's just say take Tua for example. I mean, the people that are going to dominate the conversation are the people who are the Tua lovers, and they're the supreme Tua defenders and the supreme Tua defenders and Tua lovers. Like those are the people that are going to like dominate the conversation because they're the loudest and they're on the opposite sides of the spectrum. When in reality, I think that the majority of Dolphins fans are very like reasonable about Tua, and they will say, hey, he's played well, but he has some faults, but the team hasn't surrounded him with the best supporting cast. I think that most Dolphins fans are very reasonable people, but it's Twitter So we amplify the most like extreme viewpoints and opinions, when in reality, that's not really how like the average Dolphin fan is.
Things, I was telling we've had a whole thing. Look, this has been a big deal for like a week now, and there's some people that are sick of hearing it, and there's some. I think it's a story within itself, within the fan base, and I think it's something that needs to be addressed. I really do, which is why I keep on bringing it up. But the one thing that I will say is what I love about you is 95% of all your stuff that you tweet out are just facts, stuff that, is going on. It's not really a perception thing. You've had some moments in your tweets where you're giving your personal opinion of stuff, but I think 95% of your tweets, in my opinion, are stuff that is just, hey, look, this is what I'm observing and this is what I see, not your opinion of it. And I think when you have beat writers, that's what I think that's what fans want to see from beat writers. Now, there are some beat writers that don't have that they put themselves, they insert themselves into the narrative and their opinion into the narrative. And I think that's where things get a little gray.
Yeah, and we talked about that too on the spaces. It's like there's different, like I'm a beat reporter, which is why I said, like, that's why I like most of this stuff. I'm just reporting. Like I'm a reporter. Like I'm not trying to inject my opinion. If I'm a columnist like Greg Cody, Armando Beck, when he was here, like at the Herald, like those guys are columnists. So it's like, it's literally their job to give their opinion and opine on stuff. Barry is like kind of a mix. So that's why a lot of times you'll see a lot of reporting, but you'll still see Barry kind of interject his opinion. Cause I mean, he's kind of a mix. But there's different like guys on a part of the beat, like there's columnists, there's reporters and whatnot. There's analysts. It's different. So you got to understand a lot. I mean, in some cases, some people are columnists. Like it's literally their job to give their opinion. So I think that sometimes that's why the lines might get blurred. Like I think that like media literacy is like really big. It's really important like for everyone, because we got to understand like what people's roles are and what comes with that. Like a TV personality might not have like the same journalistic ethics, or might necessarily be bound to the same as like me. Because I'm just a reporter, so they're on TV giving their opinion, and it's different. It's more entertainment. Where me, I'm like legit trying to report the facts and trying to be like truthful and just be transparent with everything. Where somebody their job might be to have an agenda and have an opinion, so they might blur the line. So again, we gotta understand a lot of people, like there are columnists on the beat. They report, but they're also columnists. So there are lines there. And I think that's where like the lines might get blurred, and people might be upset that people are giving their opinion when that's literally their job though, I think, but I also think that through it, it's like, it's important to like not have the agendas. Like we talk about the agendas and how that drives narratives. And I think that even if you're opinion columnist or whatever, like you shouldn't have an agenda. I feel like there should be like truth and transparency in your, opinion writing or whatever column you're writing.
Yeah, I tell people I don't have a problem if you want to give your opinion of something, but show me what the facts are first, and show me what the middle of the road looks like, and then give me your opinion. I think some people tend to not do. I think beat reporting, this is just my opinion, Daniel, is a lost art, and I don't know if anybody truly in the world that, like, even when you watch news today, people aren't giving you the news; they're giving you their opinion.
Yeah, it's like CNN, like, or Fox News. It's like they
have their own narrative.
There was a point where like we went from strict reporting to kind of this I forgot. I studied this in school, but it's like, especially with like American government, there's a time where we went from like actual reporting to just like this split screen opinion. So it's like, instead of just reporting it as it is, it's like we always blended in like the opinion part of it, and it's like, for better or for worse, that's the way we are. That's the way we are with sports now. People aren't just reporting; they're giving their opinion. That's kind of what has like really driven this industry in like the past 10, 15, 20 years. People giving their opinion, not just reporting. So again, that's kind of where we are right now, for better or for worse. But again, my job as a reporter, I'll give my opinion if you want it. At times, when I record the podcast, I will. When I'm here, I'll give my thoughts. But in just like general reporting, if the Dolphins signed Teron Armstead today, I'm not going to write.
Fingers crossed.
Yeah, I'm not going to write the Dolphins signed Teron Armstead, and he's not going to stay healthy, because he's never stayed healthy. Like, I'm going to say the Dolphins have signed Teron Armstead. He's a very good left tackle, but injuries have been a concern, and then I'll list this is how many games he's missed. But I'm not gonna like bash the signing and say it's a great signing and it's a terrible signing. I'm gonna like just report it and present it for what
You're going to give you the facts and let people like me and the other fans be able to make their own interpretation of what you posted.
Exactly. I'm not really in the opinion, but I used to argue, I grew up watching First Take and all those shows. Like I used to argue with my friends growing up, and it's like now like my friends try to text me because I'm like an actual reporter. I'm like, bro, I'm not arguing with you. Like I'll tell you what the facts are, but I'm not gonna go back and forth and argue with you,
Well, it's always funny because I tell people all the time, I'm like, there used to be Cold Pizza, which is now First Take.
Yeah.
There used to be, plenty of, places like Around the Horn and what's the Wilbon?
Pardon the interruption.
Part of the interruption. Those they were not a dime a dozen. They were very limited shows. There wasn't a lot of them.
But it's not. But they took off. But they took off, and now that's what everyone does.
Now that's what everything is on ESPN and Fox News Sports or Fox Sports and CBS Sports and Yahoo Sports and YouTube. Like everybody's got a platform now for it. Which and I included, right? So
for better or for worse. I mean, it's
for better or for worse.
It's opened a lot of doors, so it's like for better for worse. That's what we're at right now.
All right, now let's get into a little bit of Dolphins talk real quick because I know I only got you for a limited more amount of time. Do you think? Actually, I don't want to ask you what you think.
I mean, I guess you can. This is one of the very few platforms where you ask me what I think, and I'll tell you if I can.
Well, then, what do you think about the Dolphins' offseason moves so far? Do you think that so in Indianapolis, the GM of this very football team, Chris Greer, used a word that I thought was very interesting, aggressive.
Yeah.
Do you think we've been aggressive this offseason, Daniel?
That's a good question, and it's sparked a lot of conversation amongst Dolph fans lately. I think it depends on your perception of the word and the context around it. I think that the word was taken in a vacuum and interpreted to mean something that it didn't necessarily mean. If you look at the entire quote, which I put up on Twitter a couple of days ago, my understanding of what Chris Greer said was that they were going to be aggressive in searching for options to improve the team. He then went on to say and to give actual examples about and pretty much saying that doesn't necessarily mean that he's going to spend all the money in this one period and that he was just going to like throw out crazy bags at players because he talked about how in past years spending a lot of money and giving out really high price contracts has come to bite the team and put the team in bad situations. So I think that if you really parse and really put all his words together in context, I think that he said that he meant he was going to be aggressive in scouring options to improve the team, but he was going to try to be smart in the types of deals that he gave out. And I think that we saw that in the first week. The biggest contract that they gave to a player, was it Connor Williams, $14 million?
Yep.
I think that's it. I think that was the biggest deal that they gave. Obviously, Armstead might be a different case if they can close that deal. But I think that there's definitely like kind of misconstrued his aggressive comments. I know that obviously there were a lot of really, really big moves made that first week of free agency. And I'm sure the Dolphins tried to do their due diligence. I mean, they say we always do our due diligence. They always making phone calls, always having talks. But I never got the sentiment that, yeah, they were going to just like throw out crazy money. When you think about it, they kind of did throw out crazy money. They threw out crazy money to retain their own guys. They had to get Agba. They got Agba at $16 million. They put the franchise tag on Gesicki, which, I mean, they're still underpaying Gesicki because he would have made at least $14 million if they let him go to free agency. So that ties up because and you got to also take into account they had $60 million at the beginning of free agency, but they had the most unrestricted free agents. They were at the top of the league in terms of unrestricted free agents. They had like 20 guys that were unrestricted free agents and a couple more that were restricted free agents. So they had to devote a decent amount of money to re-sign their own guys. I know we talked a lot about cutting guys, but it's like if you cut guys, you got to use that money now to re-sign more guys to like make, the roster has to be comprised of people. So they did spend a good amount of money on trying to retain their own guys. And I thought that they made smart deals to try to attack areas of weakness on the team. Would you have liked to see them maybe get some bigger names? Yeah, but again, at what price does that come with? If the Dolphins gave Christian Kirk $21 million a year, like the Jaguars did, we would have been saying, "What the hell is Chris Beard doing?" We
Yeah.
would have been at his head.
Well, that's what people are saying in Jacksonville. I can tell you that right now.
So exactly, I think that we kind of latched on to the aggressive comments and didn't really like look at the totality of his words. Because again, Twitter, sometimes you don't get the context. We just say Chris Greer is going to be aggressive instead of putting out the entire quote. Nobody wants to read the entire quote, truth be told. But it's like we kind of latched on to one sentence, and instead of looking at the entirety of the quote.
That's a fair statement, and I can admit that I'm guilty of it. When I read something, especially when I hear, it coming from you or another beat reporter, and I hear that, I take it for what it is, right? So I hear you're going to be aggressive. I didn't hear the entire conversation, but I will also say to the effect of, that's also the world that we lived in. You say one sentence, you could have said 80. Yeah. But that one sentence they're going to take out and judge and critique and put in filter any which way they want to. Let me go back to some of the signings that we've made so far. Mike McDaniel's trying to institute a certain type of offense in here in South Florida. And one of the things that he did was bring in guys like Chase Edmonds, Alec Ingold, as well as Raheem Mostert, and entirely changed the backfield with 3 signings. I think another big important part of that is the offensive line. Connor Williams, great offensive lineman, has problems with penalties, but great offensive lineman nonetheless. You're able to get him at a deal. Well, now there's this guy, Teron Armstead, who supposedly flew down to South Florida yesterday, has been visiting. We don't know if he's still here or not. We just know he hasn't signed yet. There's no official announcement. What do you know about Armstead? What do you know about what's going on right now?
Yeah, it's been kind of quiet. We did get it confirmed that he was set to visit on Monday. I thought it was interesting. I mean, I don't know. I don't want to start doing conspiracy theory stuff, but
don't do that, Daniel.
And I will say I'm gonna talk it out, and I will explain why I'm not gonna go conspiracy theorists here. But the Dolphins introduced their 8 free agent signings here, on Zoom. Obviously, I was thinking like, why aren't we doing this in person? Because in Baltimore, I mean, I'm used to, they sign a guy, you get to see him in person, But again, I mean, the Ravens aren't usually signing 8 guys in 1 week, so that's probably why. I mean, they couldn't.
Probably true.
Yeah, so I'll say that. But I was thinking like maybe they don't want him they don't want us in the facility, around the facility when he's there. I don't know. But I didn't want to do conspiracy theory too much. But yeah, we know that he was set to visit Monday. I know there was an NFL Network report, and you see me always looking to the side, I'm trying to monitor my Twitter in case it breaks, because you never know. There was an NFL Network report that there should have been some resolution on Tuesday. On Monday, but there wasn't. It's an interesting situation because he's regarded as the top left tackle and the top player in this year's free agency period. But he went the entire first week without signing. So there's a lot of teams that just kind of went about their business. They were spending their money. So I'm not really sure like what the market looks like for him. I mean, obviously he's regarded as one of the best left tackles in the NFL. So you would think that he's going to get a really hefty deal. And I'm not really sure what the Dolphins like competition is. It's just been really quiet. I mean, there was a lot of talk that he was kind of waiting to see what happened with Deshaun Watson. He was mulling a return to New Orleans. I don't know. It's been very, very quiet. Even to this point, we like don't even know like what the state of the visit is. So again, I've been saying that, I think that the complexion and the perception of this offseason changes, of the free agency period changes, if they can secure this guy. It was good that they got Connor Williams, like he projects as a left guard, starting left guard. You got one new offensive tackle or offensive lineman. You can get Armstead, who, he's not too as blindside blocker, but he's a really, really good left tackle. He's a great left tackle. I think the perception of this offseason changes. But again, it's going to come down to the money. And they spent a lot of money on a lot of guys this past week. I keep on using this over the cap website to see how much money they have. And I don't think they have a lot of money left. So if they're going to sign Armstead, I really do. And I could be wrong.
Getting cut. Somebody's getting cut if that happens.
I mean, I think they might have to restructure somebody too. I mean, I could be wrong. I'm going to preface my comment because I'm not a capologist, But I've been doing this over the cap stuff. I've actually been learning a lot in the past couple of weeks about the cap.
Well,
I've been putting in the contract. I only think they have like $5 million left. So what they do,
correct me if I'm wrong. The Gesicki deal and Agba deal are combined this year in 2022 like 18 mil together. The way that he structured out the contract
all of Gesicki
for Agba.
Gesicki's entire the franchise tag for Gesicki is like it's no signing bonus, it's like it's a fully guaranteed base salary. So it's like $10.9 million. And Emmanuel Agba has a pretty low cap hit
it's like 8 or 9. It's like 8 or 9. And I remember saying that because I'm like, I easily thought
it's actually 11. It's actually 11. So it's a little higher than
so it's 21. So it's 21.
Said yeah. So again, 21
for those two guys.
So
together.
1/3 of the $60 million that we thought was leading the NFL went to Agba and Gesicki. So a third of the cap for the year.
Let me throw this out there. All right, two things I want to say. Number one, I thought both of these guys were going to demand minimum 14 to 15 mil each. Minimum.
Agba for sure,
okay?
Yeah.
So the fact that he got them, easily these two guys together could have been 30 million. And he got them at 21 or 22. I'm going to give credit where credit due because 8 million, look what you got. You were able to get Chase Edmonds at what, 3.5? Something like that. So look, Greer gets a lot of hate or critique. I'm going to give him a clap because I think he's done a good job with what he has had so far, and I agree. I think we are one offensive line signing away from this being an A-, B+ offseason.
Yeah, I agree with that. If you get Armstead, to this point, it's an incomplete grade, but it's like if it ended today without the Armstead signing, I'd say, all right, it's a B. It's a B. It's good. It's good.
100%.
Not great, but it's good. If you get Armstead, there would have been B+, A-. And the thing is, it's like you wanna enter the draft with as few holes as possible. So it's like if you get Armstead, you got the left side of your offensive line settled. You got some nice running backs who you think that can do different things in your offense, and it doesn't prevent you from drafting one at 50, 3rd round, 4th round. Then you can really do best player available at number 29. It's not like you're feeling like you got to hit a home run on every single pick in the draft. Because I don't know, I don't know if Greer is going to do the 2021 draft again.
Yeah, look, here's a reality. He hit on the first 3 picks last year. Phillips, Javon Holland, and Jalen and Waddle.
Yeah.
The odds of that happening again
it's just very. And again, I mean, he had 6, he had 18, so it's like he was getting like 2 premium blue chip players with those picks. I mean, 29. I think there's going to be a good player at 29.
I'll be honest with you. I think we trade out of that pick. That's what I think.
It's definitely possible.
I think why not? Because here's what it is. If you're worried about the salary cap, right? You got to understand what's left also has to go to, what does it have to go to? It also has to go to the draft. And from that standpoint, you have to be able to understand what they need to do to sign players. So
yeah, but I don't think that's a problem. I mean, they're mindful of that. I think they'll have more than enough money to account for the draft class and whatnot. And again, it's also, you got to keep in, they have like the rule of 51. So it's like it's only the top 51 contracts that count against the cap right now. But I think they'll be mindful of that. I don't think that the cap, I don't think they'll trade out of the first round for cap reasons. I think they'll trade out of the first round because the guy on their board, the way their board lines up, there's no way that they feel confident. They don't feel confident picking somebody at number 29 based on the way their board drops. But the thing is, the way this draft is like lining up, like there's not as many like top blue chip players, but there's like so much great depth in like the late first round, in the second day, and the third day. I mean, it could go both ways. You could say because there's so much depth, they're going to find a guy that they really like at 29. Or they could say because there's so much depth, we feel confident in trading back and still getting a guy.
If I was a betting man, which I am not, Daniel, but if I was, I don't think we have a day 1 draft pick. I think
that'd be very unfortunate because I'm used to, because I'm from Baltimore. I'm used to staying up till midnight when the Ravens are picking 26th and 27th. And there've been
All
a
right,
couple
we
times
get
when
it,
they say
Daniel.
that.
You're used to watching a good football team.
No,
I
that's not what
get
I'm
it.
saying. That's not what I'm saying. I'm
I
saying
get it. I
that'd
see
be
what
very
you're doing.
unfortunate if I had to stay up that late and they don't even draft somebody. But again, I think that they will. I don't know. I just get a feeling that they will. I think there's gonna be somebody there, whether it's a wide receiver, whether it's an offensive lineman, it could be even be a pass rusher. I think there will be somebody that's
We
like,
need to address more O-line. More, I want to see more O-line. We need a linebacker, and we need probably another wide receiver. Those are the three things I think the Dolphins need to address really, really well.
yeah. But it's like,
You
but
know?
it's also like if they get Armstead, it's like you just feel so much better about the draft. You don't feel like you have to hit because they have 8 picks, but they're kind of spread out. It's not like they have a bunch of like top picks at the they don't have a bunch of picks in like the top 80, top 100. But it's like if you get Armstead, then you feel a lot more confident about kind of going into the draft and where your needs are. You're not going to be a complete team. No team is whole, but you want to try to reduce the holes that you have and the weaknesses that you have on the roster entering the draft.
Miami Sports Music's #1 Miami fan morning show, Clap Blockers. I'm your host, Stephen Daniels. Alongside me, the great Daniel Oyefusi. I'm just going to give you these amazing intros and just be like the wonderful, amazing Daniel. Now on the Miami Herald. Dude, I loved hanging. I missed you. That's first of all.
It's been a minute, man. It's been a minute. I was in bed. I was like, wait. I got a segment. I got a bit. 9:00. You got to get back to it.
I was in Cancun, and then I went to see my mom for a week.
Oh man, you was enjoying life.
Look, man, you know how that goes. Hey, look, it's going to be crazy over the next 24, 48 hours, especially with Armstead. And then eventually we'll be able to start getting into some draft talk. I want to do, a mock draft with you. I know you probably got a million of them that you're planning on doing, or at least 1 or 2, but I definitely want to be able to talk to you and break those down whenever you do those. Tell everybody where they can find you on social media and where they can find you at the Miami Herald.
Yeah, I was about to say you got to put up my username so everybody can get it. But on Twitter, on social media at Daniel Oyefusi. Yep, just like it is right there below me. If you want to read my work, obviously Miami Herald, MiamiHerald.com. We have like a kind of a la carte sports pass. So it's like if you're just interested in the sports, you can get that. It's a pretty nice deal. Just go to MiamiHerald.com. And then obviously we have the Dolphins in Depth podcast comes out every Wednesday. Switch things up last week because I was off for a couple of days. So we had a new episode on Friday, come out last Friday. And then we're gonna have one come up tomorrow morning. So we'll be talking Dolphins. Maybe if there's some Armstead news, we'll be talking some Armstead. But if not, we still have some good stuff. So every week, every day is something new with the Dolphins. So we'll be there to cover it.
Hey, man, look, I love having you on all the time, every time. Tell everybody at the Miami Herald, Miami Sports Music Podcast Network loves them and love you. And we'll see you next Tuesday right here for our segment that we do every Tuesday, man.
Yes, sir, man. I appreciate it. You take care.
No problem, Daniel. Be good.
See you.
Miami Sports Music's #1 Miami fan morning show, Clap Blockers. That was segment 1. Did you all like that? Did y'all have a good time? Look, we're not done. We're not over this morning. A couple things I need you to do. Over 180 of y'all are watching right now. I had only 50 likes, so hit the like button. Help us grow. Help me help you. That's the first thing I need y'all to do. Second thing I need y'all to do, okay? If y'all can, understand that what we want to do is we want to be able to make continuous, great content for you. So when I have somebody like Daniel on, I want somebody to be able to tune in and go right to that video and just listen to Daniel. So that's what we did with this. The second segment that I have going on this morning is going to be with my man Nando Talk from Twitter. All right. Now, if you see in the chat, I put a new YouTube link for you guys to go to. Nando is waiting in the back room over there. I'm about to go over there for the part 2, segment 2 of the morning show this morning. Nando's over there right now. Click on the link that's in the chat, the new YouTube link. And I'm going to be over there in 2 minutes. And we're going to get started on what he's got going because he had a major meltdown on Twitter. And I think it wasn't even a meltdown. I think it was something that we all need to hear as fans. We all need to hear it as fans. There's plenty of it that we need to hear. Matter of fact, let me give you a little preview of what he said because I think it's worth hearing. So let me share the screen real quick. And then I'll give it all to you here in a few. on the other segment. So listen to this real
Nando
quick.
here with some Nando talk, bringing you some Dolphins talk because I am sick and tired of all the little free agency moves. The latest one being Amari Cooper to the Dolphins. We've seen Chris Godwin to the Dolphins, Saquon Barkley to the Dolphins, Calvin Ridley to the Dolphins. The Deshaun Watson to the Dolphins has just finally been put to rest at the combine. Aaron Rodgers to come here, Russell Wilson to come here, everybody to come to the Dolphins because apparently this is mad and we can just snag whoever. I know we have the most salary cap. I know we have all these draft picks, but come on, guys, let's be a little bit more realistic.
I'm going to listen to that rant as well as more. So go over to that new link right now, and you're going to listen to him. He is waiting in the back room. We're going to have a great talk, and he's about to get on some of y'all. So right now, go over there and be ready for that. Guys, thank you so much for watching this video. If you like what you saw, make sure you share it, and make sure you tell everybody, tell all your friends about it, and I will talk to you right now. Go over to the new one, 150 y'all over there. Go over to the new link right now. I'll meet you there. Miami Sports Music's #1 Miami Fan Morning Show. This is segment 1. We're about to go into segment 2. We'll see you over there right now. Peace.